Just a gentle reminder to all before we start. I would like to invite everyone. Kindly take your seats as we will start the seminar shortly. And please switch your handphone to silent mode so as not to disrupt the flow of the ceremony. And please fill up the empty seats in front and leave the back seats for the latecomers. And kindly, all the participants, you may fill up the empty seats on my left hand. Thank you. Yang Berusaha Associate Professor Dr. Adibah Abdul Latif, our first keynote speakers from University Technology Malaysia. Yang Berusaha Associate Professor Dr. Wan Zuhaini Saad, our second keynote speakers from University Putra Malaysia. Distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen. We are delighted to welcome you to this seminar on innovative learning and teaching to 2022. On behalf of the organizing committee, thank you so much for coming and participate in this seminar. Without further ado, I would like to invite without further ado, please welcome Dr. Amir Azan Abu Jamal, our Deputy Director of the Center for Academic Excellence and Development, UMS, to conduct the first keynote session. Dr. Amir, I hand over the session to you.
Thank you, Puan Munirah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera and very good morning everyone. To all our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome all of you, all participants to the first seminar on innovative learning and teaching, SILT 2022. Welcome everyone, and today, this morning, we are glad and happy to have our invited speakers from UTM and UPM to be with us today to share their experience and expertise on innovations and teaching and learning. So I'm going to start with the first keynote speaker for today, from Associate Professor Dr. Adibah Abdul Latif from University Technology Malaysia. A bit of introduction about Dr. Adibah. Associate Professor Dr. Adibah is a senior lecturer in the School of Education, Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, UTM. Her PhD and Masters are in Educational Measurement and Evaluation. She joined the university in 2003 and held the position of Manager of Standard and Quality Academic Enhancement from 2017 to 2020. And now, she is a research fellow at the Center of Fake Science and Technology. So some of her achievements in education are that she was a winner of Transformative Teaching Alternative Assessment. She also received the Teaching Award at the faculty level and is now actively involved as a panel and speaker in government, agencies, industries, and the community. I think about last week also, Dr. Adibah was here with us. I think last week or last 2 weeks, yeah. She was the assessor for the Innovation Award, AKIP 2022, organized by PPKA. So we are here, we are glad to have you again today with us. Dr. Adibah also has had 65 publications with 19 WOS publications and has been involved in 80 research grants as principal investigator and members. And now she is also actively involved in pedagogical innovation and manages to commercialize the services and products locally and internationally. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as the main topic for today's discussion, the first keynote on innovation in higher education learning. Now, innovation is no longer unfamiliar in various fields. And education nowadays is more holistic and plays a broad role as it's seen as an essential field that will eventually evolve in other fields. Therefore, the education process is seen as significant in helping to maximize our students' potential. And the one who plays the most important role is undoubtedly the educators themselves, which is us. Now, the educator's role is evolving from delivering knowledge to becoming the facilitator, and now we are playing the designer role. We are no longer come to the class and teach, but nowadays we have to design something. Now, educators have to plan how the pedagogy and the learning environment can effectively help the students' development. They should also be able to conceptualize the innovation in pedagogy, plan, practice, and evaluate innovation in the teaching and learning process. Educators, we all should face the challenges and obstacles that hinder us from being innovative educators, ensuring that innovation can be done efficiently, effectively, and sustainably. Innovation is born from the idea, action, and practice of a passionate educator who always sees existing resources as an opportunity to become an innovative educator. Without further ado, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Adibah binti Abdul Latif to deliver her presentation entitled Innovation as Pedagogical Practices for Higher Education Learning. Dr. Adibah, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude, and I feel blessed to be in this conference or seminar. Yang dihormati Dr. Dennis Legium as the Director of Center for Academic Excellence Development, Dr. Amir Azlan Abdul Jamal as the Deputy Director, and of course my boss, Prof. Zuhainis. So I'm feel blessed to be here together with my boss, okay, because she gave me a lot of opportunity when she was in JPA last time. Thank you, Prof. So today, actually, the title or sharing given to me is about the innovation as pedagogical practices in higher education. Okay, the slides there. Relative, okay, as mentioned by Dr. Amir just now. So I can control here, right, my slide? Okay, thank you. Why it's not function? Okay. Okay, thank you. So about the sharing today, the first one, I would like to share about the concept of innovation, especially in the pedagogical aspect. Okay, we know that innovation is more familiar in manufacturing, in medical, in something like very related to the product. So when it comes to education, we know that our first and our main business is actually human development. So of course it will be very different. The second one, the practice of innovation in the pedagogical aspect, and also the challenge of being innovative in higher education. Although the title given to me is the pedagogy, but it's okay because pedagogy is something actually used widely compared to the andragogy, cybergogy, heutagogy. So although in higher education, maybe the andragogy is more suitable, but I believe that the arts of teaching itself, normally well known as pedagogy as a in general. Okay. However, in higher education, although andragogy is more suitable, but sometimes we still adapt the pedagogy concept in higher education. And I was informed that for the audience today is lecturers from UMS and the teachers from the schools. So maybe upon the discussion, it will be mixed, okay, the examples either within the school context or higher education context. Okay, next. I'm the one, sorry. Okay, I'm the one who control next pula. Okay, sorry. Actually, dah terbiasa pula. Probably next. Okay, sorry. Okay, so actually I want to do the Mentimeter. The technician at the back, are you familiar with the Mentimeter? Can you just maybe create one Mentimeter for me? Actually, I thought I can control the laptop here. Mr. Okay, can you please go to the website and write Mentimeter there? Okay, actually I want to have the response first. Okay, as an introduction, this is actually, I will say you that the Mentimeter is actually an invention in education. It's a tool. Okay, something new that you can share. How many of you, 1,000 you have an audience, the class, the students, and they can share. Okay, maybe could you please go to Mentimeter? Actually, I have to log into mine, but I think maybe you can do a very simple yours. So mentimeter.com. Can we see the Mentimeter here? We have to go to the website mentimeter.com. Boleh tak? So Mentimeter is an invention. Okay, but the innovation happened there is actually how actually you can gather all the thought from the students or audience. So it also makes you easier. It facilitates you to have a very quick survey. Okay, so that is an innovation. Okay, and the creativity, of course, from the way how the students or the audience answer your questions. So invention is very related to the tools. So you cannot say that the Mentimeter is fully innovation because it has some tools, maybe it's not functioning well. If you have the good invention, okay, the good product, now we have so many, Mentimeter, can you go to Mentimeter? And maybe you can just, if anyone has the account, can use the account. If not, maybe you can sign up just for a few minutes, okay? So what I want to tell here is, nowadays, especially in education, okay, the innovation is very much related to technology until people think that technology is the must for innovation. Okay, actually that is why, because the market, okay, when the business come to education, of course they will come through the technology. But actually innovation not necessary must have technology. It's not necessary, but in this, the needs of 21st century learning, we cannot separate with the technology. Okay, if you have the good invention, okay, the invention is actually only the things. maybe the circuit, just the one block of robot. But you cannot sell the invention if there is no innovation. People buy your things not because of the things itself. It's how the things help you. So the things help you, how it benefits you. Innovation. So actually I want to ask all of the audience to help me, to share together with me. When I said about innovation, what is the first word do you think is most related with innovation? So I would like to have the Mentimeter because I just want to see your perception. Okay, this is actually always happen in the classroom. Okay, whereas you do the we call as placement test. Okay, the placement test is actually to know their pre-knowledge and maybe their perception on something. So I just want to get some perception of what is innovation, the word that you think most related with innovation, because this is very important for me to see. Just continue for free for now, okay? Okay, so for me it's very important because at least I want to see the schemata. The schemata, when people say about innovation, okay, what do you think actually about it? So one word that can represent about innovation. Okay? So maybe you can just X there. Okay, thank you. Okay, maybe you can start the new, my presentation. Yeah, new presentation. Thank you. And then, okay, slide type there. Oh, I have here, sorry. Slide type here. All right. Choose here, yes. Choose the word cloud. The word cloud. Yes, thank you. And then here, your questions is one word, the most related with innovation. Okay, just, it's okay, you can write anything. The one word that most related to innovation. Okay. Boleh? One word, most related to innovation. Okay, satu je perkataan Okay. Okay, thank you. And then the entries per participant, I want only one. Okay, from 3 here, change to 1. Okay, thank you. Okay, bawah lagi. Okay, done. Okay, can present here. Can click present. Here. Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, so for us, for the audience, yes, we go to www.menti.com and then enter the code 55206354, and now you can write the one word that you think is most related with innovation. What comes first in your mind when you hear about innovation? Okay, maybe I give like 3 minutes to write, to enter, to write the word. 3 minutes only. Okay, improvement. Okay, dah keluar satu. Invention. Technology, I guess. Okay. Novelty. Okay. Science. Okay, we have, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, maybe within 3 minutes I will close it. Okay. So in Mentimeter, I think some of you are familiar with it. The bigger the word is means that more people are answering the same questions. But if technology here you got the wrong spelling, so it will consider as different, like as a technology. So it will not contribute to the size of the word. See, the creativity is the biggest one. So it means that more than, from the 16 audience here, 17, maybe more than one audience choose the creativity. That's why it's the biggest one. Okay, product, improvement, progress, revolution, new technique, agent of change, creation, new way, new technique, remodeling, okay, transformation. Okay, another 1 minute. Art, new, okay, new things. Okay, new way. Okay, look like it stopped there. Progress. Impact. Okay. Okay, another 30 seconds. Okay, we have like 30 respondents here. And we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 answer. Which is, if you look at some of us, means more than one respondent or audience answer invention and creativity, because, and also improvement, because the word is bigger. Makes life easier. This is more than one word, but it's okay, I understand that. Okay, thank you. So I can see that have some concept here may be redundant with invention. Okay, it's okay, because nowadays when the business people, okay, they market their product, they don't want to mention their product as a new invention. They will claim that this is a new innovation, because they know that the one that can sell is the innovation, not the invention. But actually, okay, innovation is not necessary. You must have the new product. It's not necessary. But of course, if you have the new product, supposed to have an innovation. Okay? So I can see here that the word creativity is the biggest one. Right? Okay, the creativity is more on idea. Okay? Sometimes the creativity can be retained as idea if there is no implementation. Okay, thank you. Secretariat, maybe you can go back to the slide, please. Okay, terima kasih. Okay, so from the research and article that, okay, you can go to, that I refer, okay, of course, when you want to give the keynote, when you want to give a class, okay, even me, if I have the class, although I teach the class for, I have been in UTM for 20 years, although I am teaching the same subject, but every time I want to have a class, we still need preparation. I believe, although you are the professors, you still need a preparation. So of course, when you do something, you want to read, and read. So okay. Okay, maybe I will say next. Okay, these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. Okay, the research conducted show that this is the 5 words actually very related to innovation. And I saw the creativity and novelty. In fact, I think have implementation, but in other words there. Okay, creativity and novelty is there. And there is insight, entrepreneurship, and implementation. Actually, these are the 5 words that are very connected, related to innovation. Okay, based on the research. And the research was conducted to the scholars, okay. So this is the 5 words that is must have when you say about the innovation. Okay. Okay. So maybe we can refresh our mind with some quotes here. Innovation comes from saying no to 1,000 things. The no here is actually sometimes not because of you are not creative, but maybe because of the policy, the bureaucracy. I want to do this, alamak, but do you think the NC will approve? Sometimes it comes first. Of course, NC will not approve if your idea is something not benefit, okay, to the community, to the university. But instead of like that, you will say how to make the NC will approve our project. How? You think A, you think B, you think C. Okay, so many ways of thinking. So, of course, innovation starts from thinking. Okay, so from the no to 1,000 things that you can do from the no. Okay, next. Innovation is not only the tool. If the only tool that you have is a hammer, you tend to see every problem as a nail. sometimes we are very, we are safe in the comfort zone. For example, if you are the champion of problem-based learning, you will see all the teaching method related to problem-based learning. But actually in education, there is no one size fits all. No one size fits all. Okay, not all the hammer can be used. Not only hammer can be used in in doing things. And you have to know that not only all types of nail, okay, can pound in the surface. So it is actually relate to how you see the problem, and how you see the problem is related on your thinking, your experience, and of course your knowledge. As a teachers, as a lecturers, you are the subject matter expert. When saying as expert here, first, knowledge. How able you to interpret, to have the insight of what, okay, the knowledge of your field. Then you can see. So experience is actually the number 2. Although you have an experience, but if you don't have the knowledge, you tend to have the schemata, the concept influenced by others. But if you have the knowledge, at least you will start to justify, okay, because you have the knowledge. So that is why when you want to go to industry, you have to know that industry, sometimes their aim is profit. Education is not a profit. But how to merge between the industry and also universities, that's why you must have a knowledge on it. So you are not tend to have the same view, same aim like what industry have. You can, but you have to harmonize it. Okay, and finally, it will become the win-win situation. Okay? So innovation is not about the tools. It's about people, processes, and pedagogy. That is why I said in the beginning of my talk just now, some lecturers, they are so obsessed to the technology. This is what we call as technocentrism. It means that they thought that everything happened in the class is because of the technology. I'm a very good lecturer because I'm using Kahoot, I'm using Mentimeter, I'm using Jamboard. What else? I'm using the mind map, I'm using the, all the technology. And some lecturers, they feel that because of the technology, the class is happening. But actually, it's not. It's not. The technology is only a tool to help. But the way how you innovate, you plan your teaching and learning is actually the most important. I believe that the students have an experience where the lecturers use a video, the YouTube in the classroom, but still the teaching and learning is something not so benefit for them. Because the lecturers or the teachers are not able to plan well the pedagogy, how it suits with the students' need. If you go to the class, you only show them the video, the YouTube. Why you waste your time to make it in the class? Ask them to do in their house, at the hostel. So don't waste your time. You only have 1 hour, 3 hours, like me in the university, maximum 3 hours in one class. So within 3 hours, I will only give lecture maximum 30 minutes, maximum. The rest, of course, activity. Why? Because I don't want them to start reading in my class. I want them to have the pre-reading before they enter to the class. So I want you to come to my class with some knowledge. So then you can relate with all the activities I want to do. Okay, so when say about innovation, it is not something new. As I said before, it is something related to thinking. And in Quran, you can say that there are so many verses emphasize on thinking. The word ya'qilun, ta'qilun, albab is a knowledge. Absar, okay, absar is not seeing, it's an insight. Although it's come from the word basara means look, but it's an insight. And then yatafakkarun and tatafakkarun. Okay, one ta, it depends on the situation of the ayah. If it is muzakkar, it go to ya. If it is muannas, it go to the ta. So, وفي هذا دليل واضح على الاهتمام بالعقل والتفكير بالشكل means this ayah is واضح is very clear على الاهتمام, the importance with akal wa tafkir. Akal is more than tafkir, Akal is akal is there, but tafkir is more than look. Like we have the ilmu dan pengetahuan. It's different. Okay? So بشكل عام as general. Okay? Oh, keluar pula itu. Right, I don't know this. Can you help me for the next slide? Okay, thank you. So we go to the first section. Concept of innovation in pedagogical aspect. Okay? So when it comes to the innovation, as I said, the lecturers or the teachers tend to think that you must have the output. You must have, like you see here, something like application, mobile app, web-based, robot, okay, all the technology. In fact, when I did an audit in the university, I can see that many lecturers actually, they tend to measure, to give the evaluation to the products, not to the students. When I see the rubric is all about the product. Okay, let's say the product is robot. Okay, how feasible the robot is, how functional the robot is, how beautiful the robot is, what the material used for the robot. So I said to the lecturers, are you going to develop, or are you going to develop the students? The program learning outcome stated in higher education is for students, not for robots. So why all your rubrics is like to develop the robot, not to develop the students? Supposed to be, you measure, or you, ada tangan saya yang pendek, okay, okay. Supposed to be, the one that we emphasize is the outcome. That is why, in Ministry of Education, they say outcome-based education, not output-based education. Because we want to emphasize on the process. And the process is to who? To the students, not to the robot. The one what we want to investigate is the knowledge. What else? The cognitive, the practical skills. Okay, the interpersonal skills, the communication skills, the digital skills, the numerical skills, the leadership skills, the intrapersonal skills, the ethics and entrepreneurial skills. That the skill that we want to measure, which is we as a lecturers and teachers should design in our classroom activities. So the innovation is actually, okay, the innovation is actually, sorry, I don't want to show this first. Okay, can you help me to the next slide, please? Lagi? Lagi? Okay, I think, okay, it's okay, just go back to the previous slide, the slide just now. Okay, that is why in the classroom, although the output is to make a robot, okay, to make the assignment, the product, okay, but when you come to the innovation, it's supposed to be the innovation that can maximize students' potential. So what are the students' potentials? This is the learning outcome that already outlined, guided by the Ministry of Education. Just focus on that first, okay? So this is actually the difference between the invention and innovation. Can please go to the previous slide, please? Previous slide. Okay. So, invention is creation of a product or introduction of a process for the first time, while innovation occurs if someone improves or makes significant contribution to an existing product, process, or services. So, I give an example. Okay, next example. Okay. We have so many products like learning management system, video conference, clickers, YouTube, Webex, Zoom. We also have, like Jamboard and etc. All the invention, which is actually the innovation is to improve the teaching and learning, improve the communication, systematic learning and real-time polling, and also the simulation, etc. So the important one is actually the innovation one here. So how your invention can innovate. But to have the innovation, as I said, not necessarily you must invent something new, not necessary. Okay, especially in the classroom. And for information, innovation is actually not something happen in frequent time. Sometimes maybe we will see later that in innovation, we have something what we call adoption. We modify and then we create. Maybe create is something that not so many times happen compared to the modify and also adoption. Okay. Okay. So some innovation example, which is maybe less focused on the product. The first one is the flipped classroom. Flipped classroom is an innovation, example of innovation, where the students can watch lecturers at home and complete assignment in the classroom. The blended classroom, which is the student have an experience, okay, in using the technology as they work in the real world. And also now, I think we have Prof also here, the micro-credential. So micro-credential is actually one of the innovation, the process, the system, which is the micro-credential is the, is the micro learning, okay, in terms of the content, okay, improve the self-regulated learning for lifelong learning, upskilling, reskilling, and also for the purpose of academic certification. So these are the examples of innovation in pedagogy, okay. So actually the innovation in education has been emphasized since in the preschools. If we read the guideline in KSPK, KSSR, KSSM, and in fact in higher education, MQF 2.0, I think there is no one of these documents is not mentioning about innovation. All of them mention, even from the level of preschool. How to make sure that your classroom is innovative to produce the good students. Okay, so it is not something weird, something unfamiliar. It is something that I think all the teachers from the level of preschools, you are teaching preschools, primary school, secondary, or higher education, actually there are so many guidelines, emphasizement, and also the policy about innovation, how to instill the innovation in the classroom. So innovation in pedagogical practice, if we see of the definition from the Bachelor 2000, is an intentional action that aims to introduce something original. So something original here is not necessarily the product. Okay, it can be an idea, the method, the process, into a given context. And it is pedagogical as it seeks to improve student learning. Actually, that is the main point here. How your innovation can help the students to improve, to maximize their potential and also learning. Okay, next is... From cross 2001, okay, why is not so up to date reference? Because actually you can see the innovation comes into the education world since 1960 plus. It's not something new. Since 1960 plus have been mentioned about the innovation. So we can see the revolution here. So from cross 2001, say that innovations is something when you see the problem, starting point of an acknowledgement of deficiency, inadequacy, or discontent vis-a-vis, okay, or through the target set. Okay, means for the target set, you see there is a problem. This is the hinder point, the obstacles. So the innovation is actually come, okay, from the problem that you have faced. Okay? So how the innovation can help, especially in pedagogy, our focus is the students' learning. And as I said, Huberman said, pedagogy innovation is an intentional, measurable, and sustainable improvement, but it is unlikely to happen frequently, especially to get the new one. Okay? So it is unlikely to happen frequently. Okay? So I do some summarization from the reading and also from the experience. So pedagogical innovation in pedagogical practice can also be called as scholastic innovation. Okay, in education or training. So pedagogical innovation calls for one of measured and sustainable positive change. You know, the definition of education itself. If you realize the definition of education is not all about the is not all about getting the good result. Of course, that is not come into the picture at the first place. Okay, education, if you see from the history, from the Yunani scholars, like Socrates, all of them say that education is to drive you to the happiness. Happiness. So, for example, if you have some things, the knowledge that you know, and you use the knowledge. Okay, I give you a very easy example, for example, for our children in the preschool, because I want to show you in very basic. they learn how to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you ask your children, for example, Kakak, could you please help Mama to go to the shops and buy for Mama, for example, 3 onions. So when she goes to the shop, she knows 1, 2, 3. She come back home, Mama, this is 3 onions. Then the mama said, Masya Allah, you are very clever. You know this is 3 onions. She felt very happy. This is knowledge, actually for happiness. But what happened now, many students become stressful. It's like, even have the case to suicide. Because not get A, why I got 99, why I not got 100. You see, it's not you fail, you got A, but you didn't get 100, for example. Because we start to emphasize on the, the achievement to compare from student to another student. So it should not happen. So that is actually education, positive change. And we look at the definition of learning by Gagne. Gagne said that learning is only happen when there is a behavioral changes. And of course the changes should be the positive changes. Okay. Last but not least, about the conceptual of definition, innovation. Pedagogical innovation in a university context, I try to bring it in the higher education, is characterized by an intentional action. So you have the intention to change that aims to improve university students' learning sustainably. The technological, financial, and social changes of today's universities require a more incredible performance from the lecturers, the educators, which is assessed by their peers and students' qualitative criteria. Okay, as the practice in higher education. Okay. Okay, actually I want to go to this one. Okay, so let's say you have a problem. You want to find the solutions in the classroom context. Okay, so you introduce the students with the learning task here. So the learning task here is actually where the innovation can be embedded in the classroom. Innovation here. But if you see from the learning task, okay, what you want to achieve is actually the learning outcome, the program learning outcome, if let's say in higher education, to develop the holistic student, the becomingness students. That's why this is the outcome. But the output will be the solutions. So you can see here, from the innovation, it can give the benefit, okay, to the output, which is, for example, the robot just now, and the robot can make the people life easier. And the outcome here is more important for us as educator. It's most important because we want that what we give them, that we create, we design in the classroom, really can, help the students to develop their own potential here. So of course, this innovation also needs a support. Okay, so if in the university, let's say you can have the good physical support, financial, and also the stakeholders, either internal or external support, believe me that your innovation can be more meaningful. Okay, all right. And the process here, the students can improve students' learning and and create the positive changes in the classroom. So this is actually in general, how innovation can happen in the pedagogical flow. So it happens here actually. Okay. So this is the pedagogical conception cycles. Okay, this one I adapt from Anne Wilder. This one actually I create, okay, from my reading by my own. So this is actually how it happens. So if we see here, the first one, the confusion and birth of needed happen. Okay, which is the problem. And the problem normally will ask you to use the technology versus pedagogy. Nowadays, when it comes to problem, many lecturers, they have the, of course, technology is not necessarily digital technology. It can be like anything that make the things easier. So not the confusion, but something that how the technology and pedagogy can be embedded together and can help the human relations. So the lecturers will do some reflection here, think what to do, what to innovate, okay? How creative the lecturers here, okay? And how the things that can solve this problem, okay, can improve and change, Okay, improve and change means that the improvement of the classroom, improvement of the students, and change here means just now the positive changes. Okay, and then you apply. Apply is very important in innovation. That's why one of the most important words just now is implementation. Okay, and also novelty. The creation and testing, okay, in situ building the novelty of tomorrow. So this is the pedagogical conception cycle. Okay, how it happens. So higher education is the last stage of preparing students for their integration into the world of work. That is why, if you see from the kindergarten just now, okay, we have kindergarten, primary school, secondary school, and higher education. So higher education should be more significant. I mean, because this is the last stage where you prepare the students to become the good citizenship, to become the good workers, and to become a good leader in the real practice. Okay? So now the second section is the practice of innovation in the pedagogical aspect. So everything begins with an idea. Okay? But an idea without practice will remain as an idea and also like a bubble. You just say. That's why we have, last time UMS do the seminar, right, print, because one of the objective is what come in your mind, show it in the practice. Okay? Don't make it as a bubbles only. So, inna Allah yuhibbu iza amala ahadukum amalan ayutskina means that when you do things, it must be in yutskina, very systematic. It's not just you do and okay, I do already, but no impact. So it is very important actually to do things with a very great impact. Okay, so from idea, okay, transfer it to action, and then make it as a practice. So in innovation, the wider the implementation is, the bigger impact it will come. Okay, it's like an authentic assessment, you know. In authentic assessment, there is a continuum of the level of fidelity, the authenticity. The presentation is authentic assessment, but it's not as authentic as you go to the field work and you do the work together research with the community. Presentation is authentic. Doing research is authentic, but in terms of the level, the degree of fidelity, okay, this one is more authentic compared to the presentation. So same goes to the innovation. So innovation, we have the cycle of innovation, okay, which is the phase where you continuous development of pedagogical change, cycle of feedback, and also the gradation of innovation. Why we call a cycle? Because sometimes it can be happen without any, without any linear sequence. Okay, sometimes it's like a chicken and egg. Maybe problem come first, maybe the solution come first, then you do inductively or you do deductively. So this is the cycle of innovation. So first of all, of course, you will assess the learning by intentionally and intuitively, measuring students' competencies, improve the linkage between what students know and bridge to what they still need to learn. So in this case, actually, in the cycle of innovation, it comes from your experience, your problem. When you come into the classroom, okay, Albert Einstein said that the theory and practice will remain the same in the theory, but the theory and practice will be different when it comes to the practice. Maybe you have so many theories in your degree level when you learn about the behaviorism, cognitivism, socialism, so many theories. Okay, I think who learn psychology, the more theory you will have. But you have to remember that theory comes from research, and research comes from population, and population have their own special characteristic. Maybe this theory is not suitable in your context. That is why when we do the research, every time we do the research, we need to do the pilot study. Although you use the very well-established instrument, you still need to do the pilot study because maybe you cannot adapt 100% what in the existing well-established instrument to your context. Okay, that is why the real context is actually the real innovation that you should do. Okay, so it will involve the more alternative assessment, flexible assessment, personalized learning, self-regulated, involve the real-world application, and involve the constructive task. Okay, so I will show some example here. Okay, So innovation cannot be separated with the constructive learning outcome, transformational learning, and alternative assessment. This is actually three dominant components in teaching and learning, which is the learning outcome include the curriculum, the activities, and also the assessment. So if you do some innovation in your classroom, believe me, you will involve the constructive learning outcome, you will involve the transformational learning, and also an alternative assessment. If you use the traditional assessment, which is question and answer examination, I can say that actually there is no innovation in your classroom. If you just use the lecture, one-way communication, I will bet there is no innovation in your teaching and learning. Okay, because this is the most basic thing. You must have the constructive learning outcome, transformational learning activities, and also alternative assessment. So I give you some example here. For example, if you want to measure students' performance constructively, when you plan the lesson plan, the teacher lesson plan, the cognitive level must be minimum applied. Okay, for higher education, your course learning outcome, which is you want to measure students after 14 weeks teaching and learning, it is very, not impactful if, let's say, you say at the end of the lesson, students should be able to, for example, explain, to define, okay, to list down. All of that can be achieved in only 1 hour, no need 14 weeks. So that is why in planning the course learning outcome or the teaching plan, teaching lesson plan, for cognitive level, okay, for one semester, for example, in higher education, you need at least, okay, in Bloom taxonomy, the application, or now we call as the applying level. Okay, now we use the Anderson 1, 2001, the revised Bloom taxonomy. And then on affective, the value, the constructive actually start in the valuing level. Valuing. Okay, not receiving, not responding, at least valuing. The third level of Krathwohl taxonomy. And the third one, the psychomotor. It must be happen at least at mechanism level, the fourth level. Okay, not at the set level, not at the perception level, not at the set level, and not at the guided response level. The fourth level of the Simpson taxonomy, which is mechanism, which is the students can do their practical by their own, without the guidance, at least. So to achieve all of this learning objective, okay, you have to plan by using or create the innovative curriculum with the constructive verb just now. Okay, then you have to implement, evaluate, and do the continual quality improvement. So for example, I'm using the inquiry learning approach. So in inquiry learning approach, I will use the critical thinking, practical skills, I will measure the critical thinking, practical skills, and interpersonal skills during my teaching and learning session. So I will evaluate either my innovation here or my teaching method here has a good impact, or how actually you evaluate in terms of the time, financial, resources management, and risks. So this is actually to see the effectiveness, efficiency, and sustainability. And for CQI, actually, you do some reflective, which is when you look at all the things you think you have to do the flexible assessment for the betterment of the student. So this is actually the example. This is actually the okay, this one is actually the stage. You do the planning, implementation, evaluate, and CQI. And this is the example. The planning, I do inquiry learning. The implementation, I do some teaching methods to develop student potential, which is the CLO, or learning outcome I want to measure, is critical thinking, practical skills, and interpersonal skills. So then I do the evaluations of the teaching method just now. And what next, the improvement that should I do for the next stage. So this is actually the cycle. And then the cycle of feedback. Just now is the cycle of innovation itself. Now the cycle of feedback. You can get the feedback actually indirectly and directly. For example, the students' behavior, you can see the expression, the action, the demand of the students. Diorang punya gelagat. Sometimes you can, as a teacher, you have been in front of the students for more than 10 years. Even the students look at you, you know that either the students is actually have a daydream or they really focus on you. It's like a policeman, you know. Policemen, because they are very familiar with the, the criminal. Sometimes they look at you, they have the first perception either you are actually the victim or you are the criminal. The first instinct. So as a teacher, it's like that. When you in front of the students or audience like this, you know who is actually giving attention to you and not. You know. Okay, maybe the one who look at the phone, they are actually jot down the notes, but not look at the phone. Maybe sometimes you just look at the what screen, but actually it will penetrate the screen, tembus. Actually, you can know that. You can know. Okay, so you can give the feedback from the students' comments. Okay, and the most actually I like is the interaction. The interaction between you. Okay, how engage students to discover and assess their graphs of course content. And also the evaluation now. We have I think all universities, and I'm not so sure the schools, but university we have the teaching evaluation from students to the lecturers. I think the schools, do you have the evaluation from the students to teachers? You have? You have also? By the system or just paper and pencil? Or maybe you just do a survey by your own? You should have a system actually. So at least you can capture the evidence. Okay, and this is the gradation of innovation. Okay, we have the innovation which is you adopt, you modify, and you create the new idea or methods. So adoption when you fully accept it without any adjustment, modify when you do some adjustment, and create when you create the real idea, original, the novelty of idea, concept of method introduced as a pedagogical innovation. So this is an example. The adoption when you apply the project-based learning method in the class as suggested by other researchers. Project-based learning itself is an innovation, but you just adopt. Okay, you just adopt, you read, you adopt. You read, you adopt. Or maybe you see from YouTube, you adopt in your classroom. So you modify when you do some modification of the task by involving only the actual case study. Okay, the real data from industry or community. Because problem-based learning is not necessary you have the real problem. Compared to the case study, it must be the real problem. Okay, and then the creation maybe, then the teacher creates the rubric and the students choose what kind of assessment suits them the best to develop the skills. This is what we call as flexible assessment. Although you are measuring the same skills, but the students have the freedom to choose what kind of assessment that they want to do, and they believe that this assessment can help them much in improving or developing the skills. Okay, so the skills, you develop the rubric. For example, you want to measure the communication skills, but students, they have the freedom. I want to do debate, I want to do the online presentation, I want to do the focus group, I want to do interview. You can, go do. Go to the fieldwork, do what you want, as long as you can achieve the skills that I want to measure. Okay? So there are so many innovative teaching techniques. So this is teaching technique. Don't say to me why there is no problem-based learning and etc. Because problem-based learning is not the teaching technique. Problem-based learning is the teaching strategies. So this is the teaching techniques that have been discovered. Either you want to use that in the short time. For example, 1 hour in the classroom. That's why I write here for the unit learning outcome. In 1 hour, because there is some innovation, some teaching methods, some teaching techniques you can use just for maybe 1 hour. But have some teaching techniques only can be achieved for few weeks or 1 month or 1 semester. So this is an example of the teaching techniques that maybe you can use in the classroom. For example, think, pair, share, hot seat, bus, try the problem. Okay, but compared to the internship, case study, service learning, mini-scale research, this one is actually some of the teaching techniques that it takes more time, but it helps students to develop more. This one to make sure that your classroom is not so traditional one, so you can use this. For example, think, pair, share can be done only in 15 minutes. Okay. All right, thank you. So the challenge of being innovative in higher education. think I have an exercise here. Okay, the first challenge is always yourself. Okay, anything. So the first challenge is always either you want to do it or you don't want to do it. So this is actually from the research. So the greatest jihad is to battle your own soul to fight the evil within yourself. Saya malas lah nak buat. Kalau saya buat ni alah orang tak tengok pun. Dah ramai dah orang buat ni, guna aje lah. So this is actually the first obstacles in yourself. Okay, to be an innovative, you have to have the passion. I want to do it more and more. So you have to love what you do. Observe, explore, do more research, read and practice. Especially I think for the teachers, maybe maybe research is not something important. I mean important here, your KPI is not on research. But why don't you try to explore? If you have the passion, I believe that you will do. That's why for school level, I know that the government, they instill the action research, the short-term one. Okay? Okay, involve the quadruple highlights the government, agencies, university, community together in your teaching and the multidisciplinary. For example, maybe you are from education, you can combine with economy, engineering, and so on and so forth. And reflective, not only preparing today for tomorrow, the improvement can help to sustain longer your innovation. Okay. So, chase your passion, not your pension. Especially government servant lah, it's okay. 2 years more I will pension, it's okay. Why innovation, tak apa. Aku dah nak pension dah. Passion people, they will not do that. Passion people, they will chase on passion, okay, not the pension. Okay. So, another challenges is the support from higher education itself. Okay, some universities, maybe they did not emphasize on the teaching and learning, they emphasize more on research. In fact, the lecturers actually, they spend more of the time to do the research rather than to the preparation of the classroom. That's the fact. Okay, because during the research, you involve with so many stakeholders, meeting and etc. You have to go to the fieldwork, etc. So why not? That's why you have to do concurrently. At the same time you do the research, you do research in education field. Do the innovation and commercialization in teaching and learning. Okay? So it will help you to solve the problem. You hit 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay, and then some teachers said that, oh, I cannot do the innovative in teaching and learning because my class is very small. The layout is so traditional. It's not the 21st century classroom. This building has been 14 years ago. Okay, so I cannot do the activity in the classroom. There is no technology in the classroom. Okay, so many excuses from the, impatient lecturers or teachers. So actually you can just do the short activities in the classroom, more engagement with stakeholders and technology as a tool. I have an experience to teach one class with 100 students, but still I can do a group work, still I can do the presentation, still you can do, which is not really that they present, for example, they present, they upload, and then another group will look at all the presentations, they give comments, and they vote which one is the best presentation. So they have to watch all the presentation. Not necessarily you must ask one by one to do the presentation here. So when there is a will, there is a way, no problem. So technology, of course, will help, but it's not the main thing. Okay. So slow adoption of innovation. Okay, because I understand the good innovation actually they take time and have to implemented. So the complexity, the level incentive requires time and space for experimentation, disrupt the established routine and pushes implementers of their comfort zone, especially for those who don't have the big patience. So they will always use this excuse. So as a solution, start from the small, and also you can concurrently start the small and big innovation. And for sure, know oneself work. Please work in a team. So you tak penat sorang-sorang. You need a team. Okay? So with the team you can walk longer. Okay? And maybe you can walk maybe slower compared to when you walk a little, but you can walk longer. Right. Prof. Wan, you kena get ready with the yeah, that's why the workout. All right. So another challenges, many lecturers, they have so much ideas, but the ideas are written as the ideas. So innovation is not about talking the talk, but walking the walk. Okay, innovation can make a significant difference only when it is used on a wide scale. Okay, so you see how now all of us using the project-based learning, micro-credential, so you can see the impact. Okay, so the solutions need the implementers, the group, the team works. You have to strategize. There must be an innovative receiving system. Okay, who is the user, who is the developer? Okay, so learning and innovations go hand in hand. The arrogance of success is to think that what you did yesterday will be sufficient for tomorrow. No, we will think that what you want to do today can sustain maybe at least for another 5 years. Okay. Personally, now I am involving with the developing the invention, one invention, and I work closely with industry. At first, this is my first actually trial after holding the position as administrators in universities after teaching. I challenged myself to go for commercialization and innovation. So I work closely with industry, communities. So somehow I can say that you need a business person to teach you to think, to get the profit, the way how they think. At first, I did not believe that my simple idea can be sold. It's not about selling actually, okay, from the perspective of business to be sold. But and end up, you will feel very, it's like a self-satisfaction when you know that what you invent, can be used like for more than, now the invention is being used more than 500,000 teachers in Malaysia. And Alhamdulillah, it's go to Brunei, Thailand, UK, US, and Saudi Arabia. They use. And sometimes I'm thinking like, if I do the classroom teaching and learning only, maybe I benefit the 30 students in my class. Dan tak tentu lagi diorang ingat apa you ajar. Okay, maybe it stop there. But when you invent something that can benefit more people, you will feel like, this is the satisfaction that you want. Okay, this is actually the contribution that you feel, this is impactful. Okay, so I learned many things there, especially when you do some innovation, how these things can be the solution for not only this year, but also for another 5 years. And for the, now after 2 years involving in the commercialization, now we still thinking how to improve for another 10 years, another 15 years. That is the how actually we should think. So whoever follows a path to seek knowledge, Allah will make the path to Jannah, paradise easy for them. Means that life is all about learning. So when you still feel that it's not enough for you, learn, search and search, means that you are in the path of searching knowledge. And you have to know that everything you do, the God will help you when your intention is actually to help others. So inshallah, being educators is a very noble occupation, which cannot be replaced with the invention of robot. Cannot. That is why this is this is one of the occupations that cannot be replaced with the invention. Unless, if you are in the class, you just lecture, okay, then you can be replaced with the robot and YouTube. So please don't do that, okay? Be the innovative educators to help students to maximize their potential and help them to survive in the future. So I think that's all my talk today. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can email me or maybe you can have some chat after this. So I give back to Dr. Amin as the chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adiba, for the very interesting session about innovation in teaching and learning. Now, before I ask Dr. Adiba a question and before we allow for Q&A from the audience, I would like to have some kind of feedback from you guys. We are all educators, and when we talk about educators, it can either be apa ni nama dia? Passionate educator, or either you are an innovative educator. People like Dr. Kamarudin, I think, is more an innovative educator. Okay. Passionate, yes. Innovative, yes. But to some other people, lecturers or teachers, they can be passionate educators, yes. Very passionate bila mengajar kan. Okay. Every time kita kelas, kita excited to meet our students. But not necessarily we are an innovative educators, right? Even myself, I'm a quite passionate educator, right? I love my students, love going to class. But when it comes to innovation, I'm moving towards that, right? I don't know about the rest. What about maybe some of you wants to share your views on this? Dr. Kamal dah start buka emas dah, okay.
Lain kali jangan sebut nama aku. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Adiba. Rakan lama di UTM dulu. Basically, Dr. Adiba ni, she talk more from the perspective of quality. Dia ni lama di quality unity di UTM. Kita panggil QRIM. Kalau di UMS ni kita ada CQA. Sama lah tu tugas dia jaga quality. So, I just want to share pandangan berkenaan dengan innovation dalam teaching and learning ni. So, dan juga berkaitan dengan quality. So, as one of the MQA assessor, I do believe that Diba pun one of the MQA assessor, that we look at this innovation dalam teaching and learning is part of the OBE under constructive alignment. So, teaching and learning innovation, kita akan tengok adakah that certain programs still implement the conventional teaching method. So that is one of the driving force for us, especially those yang di universiti yang ada program yang masih lagi mengamalkan conventional way. So please do certain innovation on our teaching and learning. Bukan sekadar kita untuk menang akib di UMS ni, bukan sekadar kita akri di KPT, ex-boss ada di situ. Okay, that basically to have our program to get that or to obtain that quality, the accreditation. Amir, kenapa ni Amir? Okay. Disuruh cepat tu kan? Okay. So just that's only basically that I want to share here, that start do our innovation. Bukan untuk kita dapatkan award, that is basically a bonus kalau dapat, but basically to have our program. Itu yang paling penting. Want our program to be accredited by the MQA or by AAC whatsoever, but a body, accreditation body. So part of it is the teaching and learning innovation.
Correct.
Terima kasih, Amir.
Betul.
Thank you, Dr. Kamal. Very interesting insights on innovation. Dr. Kamal sendiri highlights the importance to have innovations in our teaching strategies. Kan? But I think if we go back to the issues here, we have our educators who are very passionate, but sometimes have difficulty to be innovative. And that includes me sometimes. Especially those who are not from science education backgrounds, whereby they don't understand the terms, all these pedagogy terms. They don't understand. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so my question is to Dr. Adiba, right? In what way we could help these educators to instill this culture in innovation in teaching and learning, so that they could grow from being a novice, to an informed educators and to be an innovative educators.
Thank you,
especially among the educators, who are not familiar with the terms. Thanks.
Okay, welcome. Okay, thank you, Dr. Amir, for the questions. Okay, first of all, I would like to emphasize we are educator. Although maybe previously you are engineer, previously you are an accountant, previously you are a scientist. When you go to the universities, when you go to the schools, you are an educator. An educator means that you want to develop human. It's okay, the terms no problem about the pedagogy, cybergogy, pedagogy, okay? But as Dr. Amir said, some lecturers or teachers, they are very passionate. You can see the passion when they come to the class, they are very energetic. But sometimes the passionate lecturers or educators, they talk, okay, for 2 hours, explain, oh, I'm very good today, I'm very satisfied because I'm talking without any error. And everybody look at me, very clear. That one is actually clear for you, it's impact to you, benefit to you, not to the students. So innovations is actually, as I said, to improve the learning and teaching. So it's very easy. As I said, you cannot work as oneself. I'm not sure in UMS or in other universities, but in my university, we have like a focus group in education. So that is how I said, to be an innovator, you have to spare your time to think, to plan, to read, to do research, to involve with industry, community, and also the stakeholders, especially the students, get the feedback from them. Okay? Maybe 1 year, you implement one big innovation. For example, I want to do the PJPBL, Project Problem-Based Learning. This is a big one. But in the classroom, you start with the small, okay, the small, like thread a problem, like a buzz, like think, pair, share, like who am I. So many 21st century teaching and learning that has been produced by the research, okay? So it's a product, actually, the innovation product from the research. So start a bit in the classroom, okay, using all the innovation teaching methods. So in life, there is nothing you can say unless you do some reading. Okay, I can say that. That's why the first ayah go down is Iqra, not download. You download so many articles, but you don't read. Okay, so I always say to my students like that: it's not download, read. You download, you read. Sometimes me also, when in the flight, I will read because there is no line to download, right? But in the airport, okay, for example, I will download because later I want to read. The letter though sometimes take 2 months baru I boleh baca. Especially if you hold the position, Prof, meeting. But me, personally, we have the schedule, right? We have the schedule. So normally I will put the reading and research time in the schedule as a workload. For example, if people ask me, are you free? Are you free tomorrow at 9 p.m.? You don't have class? I don't have class, but I have to prepare for my research. So you have to include. That's why lecturers or educators, they feel burnt out because they do not put the time to read, to do the research, or, to prepare the class as one of the workload in their schedule. Have to. If not, you will have no time for that. Balik rumah, you want to spend time with your family, right? You tak naklah ajar anak orang kat rumah, anak sendiri tak ajar kat rumah kan. Jadi, that's why night, lecturers kan sebenarnya, when I do some observation, many of lecturers, actually include myself juga, especially when I hold the position, night is only the time where you can have the time to read your student assignments, student thesis, and so on and so forth. Okay, because maybe full of meeting day, right? So I will say that the first one, try to build a community together, the committee together with other. Maybe Dr. Kamal can be the mentor. So choose one together, choose the small innovation that can be adapted in the classroom, and then maybe the more significant that can be used widely in the UMS and so on and so forth. So as I said, the passion teachers, maybe they have an idea, the creativity, but idea and creativity without implementation will remain as idea and bubble. That is what said by the scholars just now. So sayanglah macam tu kan, semua ada kat sini, tapi that's why publication tu penting tau. Sometimes when you do the publication, at least kalau you tak sempat implement, another people can implement when reading your publication. So publication is very important for me. Tapi make sure it is something that can be used for others lah. Okay, alright, Doctor.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the audience? Anything you want to ask Dr. Adibah?
Okay, cikgu-cikgu dari sekolah ke?
We open the session for Q&A. Anyone? If anyone? Otherwise, I will continue my questions.
Oh, masya-Allah.
If there's no any questions, yeah, okay.
Respon, silakan, Doktor.
I just want to add respond on that, Dr. Ahmed question, just addition from the Dr. Adiba. For engineering, basically we already have what we call it a model ataupun framework, how that we do the innovation, starting from the very simple active learning up to the cooperative, blended cooperative problem-based learning. Okay, so kalau mau tahu lebih, so come to my presentation petang nanti. Petang kan, Mir? Petang nanti. Okay, terima kasih.
Parallel session nanti ya.
Thank you, Dr. Kama. I think for our keynote speakers, information, Dr. Adiba and Dr. Wan, I think talking about innovation culture, the UMS, we are currently working towards that. We are glad that we have several members from some faculties who starting to initiate, you know, this process of having a group to inculcate the innovation in teaching and learning. For example, in FKJ, we have Dr. Kama and his team. Recently, they won quite a lot of awards for AKIB. In FSSK, if I'm not mistaken, we have a group that focusing on Sulam activities.
Yeah.
Right?
Puan,
And
what? Puan Rohana, what her name?
Puan Ramlah and,
Puan Ramlah,
and,
yeah.
and her team on
Yeah.
Sulam. And then Puan FSSK pun ada link with FKI on
Yeah.
Sulam activities.
Yes.
University level pun kita buat AKIB,
Yes.
anugerah kecemerlangan inovasi. So I don't know, that is currently in what's
Good.
happening in
Very
UMS.
good.
We are working towards that. I believe the same things are going through among the teachers and schools around KK as well. Mungkin ada group inovasi kan antara
Betul.
guru-guru sekolah, which I think the trend is there now. Cumanya the question is, how do you see the trend? This trend of adopting innovation in teaching and learning among educators in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yeah. How different are we if we compare ourselves with other countries?
Okay. Oh. Malaysia ni terkenal dengan user rather than developer. Okay, so it's okay. I mean that you start with adopting. We can see just now the gradation of innovation. You adopt. Sometimes maybe why you adopt because you want to know the basics first. You just adopt a few innovation in pedagogy, maybe the most well-known one, the one that you read and then you see have an impact in your classroom. You adopt first. It's okay. Okay, but as I said, the trend now is not only you create the innovation, but how you can implement it efficiently, effectively, and sustainably. In fact, another stage is when you can implement it nationally and internationally. So adoption is good as a start, because from adoption you have an experience. You can see, you read a lot, and then you start to modify. Okay, you start to modify, and then from the modification is actually, you know how the process of adapting something. Just now adopt, now adapt. Okay, adopt is used as it is, adapt is to do some modification. And the higher level is like in the Bloom taxonomy, of course you want to create something. New here is actually in terms of ideas and method, not the product. With product it goes to invention. And when we said, if we see, it is something like not frequently happen. Why? Because normally when you want to create something new in idea and method, it is actually based on your journey, maybe year by year, maybe. Okay, so you have an experience, only then you have an insight. You have the experience with the industry and so on. So you know how actually it can help you to not necessarily commercialize, but I would say that commercialize is also important. And when we commercialize, why we commercialize? We want the value, okay, the value of your innovation. Okay, so if you want me to compare with what happened in global level, of course I will say that, yeah, we are not yet so much same like, surprisingly, you know, like Finland, they're not so innovative, you know, in making a new invention. No, sorry, new innovation. Okay, when I read the paper, actually, Finland, they are quite just adopt and adapt compared to create a new one. Compared to the US, compared to the UK, Australia, they invent more, they innovate more compared to Finland. Although Finland is the big name in education, but they are not so innovative. This is what the research say lah. I read from the research. So Malaysia, as I said, because we are creative, but we need a support, okay, how to implement our innovations efficiently and effectively. And you cannot do alone, and somehow the government, the policy, the university, the schools, they have to help us in promoting, in help us to penetrate the market, and also how your innovation can be used widely. So I will say that we are on the on the phase to go to the creating. I mean to market our innovation, but somehow, in general, we still at the second level. Majority of the lecturers and teachers are in the adaptation level. Okay, but it's good. At least you start somewhere. You are not only the chalk and talk educators. That's okay. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Adiba. I would love to ask more questions. I believe the audience also have the questions, but I think we have to stop now because to allow for more activities next. But please do ask Dr. Adiba questions if you have any during our tea break afterwards. All right, or you can contact Dr. Adiba at
p-adiba@utm.my.
All right. So on behalf of the committee, we'd like to thank Dr. Adiba for your session today, and we hope that we can start, having to instill the culture of innovation in teaching and learning. We can start small from our class, start with our, ourselves, right? And then we can start from a team, and then slowly we will evolve further, and hopefully one day we'll become more innovative educators, inshallah. With that, I pass the session back to the MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Amir, and thanks to Associate Professor Dr. Adiba, our first keynote speaker for this morning. Such an informative and energetic presentations. Let's give a big round of applause to Associate Professor Dr. Adiba. And ladies and gentlemen, it's now for a tea break. So we'll stop for a while. The refreshment is ready at the back. And after this, we will have the opening ceremony at 10:40. Okay? So enjoy your refreshment. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Let us begin with the recitations of dua that will be led by Mr. Rahmat bin Kasmin. Mr. Rahman, please.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وعاقبة المتقين ولا عدوان إلا والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والظالمين Ya Allah, Ya Maliku, Ya Kudus, Yang Maha Pemurah lagi Maha Penyayang, kami menzahirkan kesyukuran kami kepadamu kerana dapat berhimpun pada hari yang gemilang ini. Jadikanlah program ini sebagai wasilah ke arah mempereratkan hubungan antara kami. Ya Allah, perkukuhkan azam dan iltizam kami bersama demi mencurahkan usaha dan tenaga kepada agama, bangsa dan negara. Sempurnakan khidmat bakti kami ini sebagai satu ibadah yang dicontohi dan segani. Hiratkanlah kasih sayang di kalangan kami. Limpahkanlah cahaya petunjuk untuk kami terus melaksanakan tahun dengan adil demi kesejahteraan masyarakat dan negara. Ya Allah, Ya Syakur, kami mohon agar satukan dan perteguhkanlah hati-hati kami. Siramilah hati kami dengan cahaya ketakwaan. Jadikanlah kami di bawah lindungan-Mu. Kami memohon kesejahteraan dan kebahagiaan berkekalan untuk kami di dunia dan akhirat. Suburkanlah sifat-sifat yang mulia di dalam jiwa-jiwa kami dengan sentiasa meredha-redha di atas nikmat dan rahmat yang telah dikurniakan kepada kami. Mesrakanlah di antara hati-hati kami. Tunjukkanlah kami jalan yang selamat. Hindarilah diri kami dari sifat-sifat mazmumah dan siramilah kami dengan sifat-sifat mahmudah. Ya Allah, jadikanlah pertemuan kami ini sebagai satu pertemuan yang dirahmati dan perpisahan kami pula selepas ini sebagai satu perpisahan yang diberkati dan dilindungi. Jauhkanlah kami dari segala bala bencana, kebinasaan dan kerusakan dan apa-apa perkara yang menjauh kami daripada rahmat-Mu. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar wa adkhil jannatal abrar ma ya aziz wa ya ghaffar ya rabbal alamin. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wallahu minkum.
Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you, Mr. Rahmat, for the recitations of dua just now. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Yang berbahagia, Dr. Dennis Lajium, Organizing Chairperson of the Seminar on Innovation, Learning and Teaching 2022, representing Yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Kasim Haji Mansur, Vice Chancellor of University Malaysia Sabah, invited keynote speakers, participants, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the opening ceremony of the Seminar on Innovative Learning and Teaching 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Yang berbahagia Dr. Dennis Lajium, the Organizing Chairperson of the Seminar on Innovative Learning and Teaching 2022, to give the welcoming speech and also deliver the opening speech representing Vice Chancellor. Yang berbahagia Dr. please.
Associate Professor Dr. Wan Zohanis Saad, our keynote speaker from University Putra Malaysia, UPM, our former Director of Academic Excellence Department, JPT, our boss at the time, our second keynote speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Adibah Abdul Latif, keynote speaker from University Technology Malaysia. Welcome again. And the deans, directors or faculties, academy centers, institute, University Malaysia, Sabah, and also to all presenters and participants, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings to all. First, I would like to express my gratitude to our creator for the blessing for making this event, the seminar on innovative learning and teaching, SILT 2022, possible today. I would also like to welcome all presenters and participants of this seminars. Your presence today is an indication of your full support to the seminar. Before I continue, I would like to convey the regards from our VC, Professor Dato Dr. Haji Kasim bin Mansur, as he unable to be with us today as for his pre-scheduled duty. And I would like also to convey Prof. Rashid Mail. He's also unable to be with us because of unpresented circumstances. Ladies and gentlemen, SLIT 2020 is our first seminar organized by the Center of Academic and Excellence Development, or normally we refer it as PPKA, with the intention to provide a platform for all the educators, schools, and university alike to share views, learning experience, best practices, research findings on the promotion of innovation in teaching and learning. It is hoped that through Silt 2022, we can find unity in diversity in developing and promoting excellence in teaching in all levels of educational continuously. Excellence in teaching requires continuous improvement and change, which require innovation. Therefore, it is possible to say innovation itself is a form of instructional design. To my fellow educators, as I am also educators here, so excellence in teaching is no longer an option. Learning is no longer by chance or byproduct of teaching, but learning is by design. In creating engaging learning experience, we, the educators, have to constantly design and redesign, which is a trait of innovation, our teaching practices. We have no choice but innovate learning experience and teaching practices to keep up with the demand of society and industry. With the constant advancement of technology in our life, as we call it the fourth industrial revolution, we face different students every year. We would have to expect the students entering the university require different needs, as they have different learning experience, not only in the school, but also in the society. And the most important constant change that requires us to think carefully is the skill needed for the students for industry as they complete their higher education and in their future careers. Consequently, educators have to meet up the constant changes through constant innovation in our teaching practices. Before I conclude my speech, I have to cut down my speech because I have to read, to convey the speech by the Vice Chancellor. So before I conclude my speech, I would like to thank again to all presenters and participants for being with us, the seminars on learning and teaching. Your innovation and your inclusiveness are major factors in the success of this humble seminar. Like the mustard seed, it will grow into a creation of teaching excellence. Thanks also to our prominent keynote speakers who will share or who had shared their wisdom, Associate Professor Dr. Wan Zuhaini Saad and also Associate Professor Dr. Adiba Abdul Latif, that for sure will further cultivate the innovation spirits among our participants. So we hope we can keep the innovation going. So now I will read up our speech from the VC, the Vice Chancellor. It's quite quite awkward, because I need to cut down the the address. Okay, so Associate Professor Dr. Wan Zohainis, keynote speaker, University Putra Malaysia, EPM, former Director of Academic Excellence Department, JPT, Associate Professor Adiba Abdul Latif, keynote speaker, University Technology Malaysia, UTM, Deans, Directors of Faculty, Academy, Center and Institute, University Malaysia Sabah, presenters and participants, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings to all. First and foremost, praise and gratitude to God for His blessing and abundant grace. We can get together at this event for seminars on innovative learning and teaching, Silt 2022. I would also like to welcome all presenters and participants for this seminar. Your presence is greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, SLLT 2022 is the first seminar organized by the Center of Academic and Excellence Development, PPKA, to enlighten the innovation and creativity in learning and teaching among educators, especially UMS academic staff. This intention is in line with the academic excellence through innovation in learning and teaching theme. The focal point of this seminar is on the changes in learning environment, innovation in learning assessment, innovation students development, innovation in educational equality management, and also innovative curriculum design. Consistent with UMS vision to be an innovative university at global standing, all academic staff are the main agents for the realization of this vision. UMS management provides the platform and opportunity for all academic staff to demonstrate and practice their creativity in developing the system to provide a holistic and high-quality learning experience to UMS students. For instance, there are various programs such as webinars, knowledge sharings and recognition in academic excellence, organized by PPK for acculturation of teaching and learning creativity and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, an academic staff not merely play the role of educators, but the innovators as well. Thus, as innovators, we have to unleash the talent of our students and create the culture. As George quotes in the Innovators Mindset, as leaders in education, our job is not to control those whom we serve, but we unleash their talent. If innovation is going to be a priority in education, we need to create a culture where trust is the norm. Apart from that, the concept of independent learning, which has a high impact, needs to be applied, where the role of academic staff is not only focusing on teaching, but more to facilitate students in learning and teaching. As we live in VUCA world, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, the role of educators has become more challenging. It reflects the unpredictable changes that could affect the culture and education landscape, which demand new skills, approaches, knowledge, and behaviors to manage these challenges. It is therefore, I do positively hope that this seminar can benefit all participants and act as a platform for the 3 E's to experience, explore, and exchange amongst the participants with new skills, approaches, knowledge, and behaviors needed toward more innovative learning and teaching for the future-ready graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, before concluding my speech, I would like to express my cordial appreciation and congratulations to the organizing committee advised by Professor Dr. Rashid Mayo, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and International, and chaired by Dr. Dennis Lajum, the Director of Center for Academic and Excellent Development, and his team for making this seminar in Learning and Teaching, Silt 2022, a great success. Not to forget my deepest gratitude to our keynote speakers, Associate Professor Dr. Wan Zuhaini Saad and Associate Professor Dr. Adibah Abdul Latif, presenters, and all participants for your support and commitment in this seminar. With that, I end my speech with thank you.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Doctor, for the opening speech just now. Yang Berbahagia Doctor, please remain standing in front for the souvenirs presentations. I would also like to invite Dr. Amir Azlan to join Yang Berbahagia Doctor for the souvenirs presentations. Yang Berbahagia Doctor, please. As a token of appreciation to our keynote speakers, I will now invite Yang Berbahagia Doctor to present the souvenirs to our keynote speakers for sharing their expertise and insight in this seminar. Please welcome our first keynote speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Adibah Abdul Latif from University Technology Malaysia. And our second keynote speaker, please welcome Associate Professor Dr. Wan Zuhaini Saad from University Putra Malaysia. Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Doctor, for delivering the souvenirs to our both keynote speakers. And now we will hold a photography session. I would like to invite all guests to rise for a group photography session with our guest of honor. Okay, thumbs up, everyone. All right, thank you, everyone, for the photography session just now. So, ladies and gentlemen, shall we continue? Okay, so we are now going to listen the second keynote speech. With that, I'll pass the second session to Dr. Amir Azlan Abu Jamal. Dr. Amir, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam MC. Right, ladies and gentlemen, allow me, first of all, to introduce our second keynote speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Wan Zuhaini Saad from UPM. Dr. Wan Zuhaini is an Associate Professor in Microbiology in the Faculty of Biotechnology and Molecular Sciences, UPM. What's interesting about Dr. Wan is that she has been awarded for many awards. One is for Creative and Interactive E-Learning Award, International University Carnival E-Learning in 2016. She also the winner of the Best Trendsetter Award in IUCL 2017. She's a winner of the Reimagining and Redesigning Higher Education, which is a virtual immersive learning experience category in 2017. And this is the most notable win lah. The winner of the National Academic Award ataupun Anugerah Akademik Negara. The Teaching Award ataupun Anugerah Pengajaran for Pure Science Clusters in 2018. So Dr. Wan Zuhainis also was the former director of the Academic Excellence Division of the Department of Higher Education, Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia from 2018 to 2022. She has introduced quite a lot of innovative academic excellence initiatives, which includes Excel. I think most lecturers are familiar with this, and some faculties are working on this as well. Excel, known as Experiential Learning and Competency-Based Education Landscape. SULAM, Service Learning Malaysia, Malaysia University for Society. And Forces, Future Workforce Engagement Series, and many more. Dr. Wan is an educational technology enthusiast whom practices learning with technology in enhancing effective and meaningful learning. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for our next topic on higher education excellence, we all know that the global pandemic has accelerated the digital transformation of higher education and the future of work trends, increasing the needs for new skills and higher qualifications. Curricular, delivery, assessment methods, resources, support materials, as well as technological tools to enable learners' virtual engagements were all adapted. Now, the circumstances we find ourselves in now might be the catalyst for change that education needed. There is a range of initiatives that the Ministry and higher education institutions have developed and implemented. The next generation of youth will likely enter employment at a time when the labor market is radically changing. To create a more sustainable world and to engage with sustainability-related issues, as described in the Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs, individuals must become sustainability change makers. Now, higher education institutions need to prepare graduates with knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes that empower them to contribute to sustainable development. Now, this is the opportunity to reimagine what education might be like. We design learning to produce resilient and change-ready talents. It is a time for bold learning at scale. Without further ado, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Wan Zuhainis Saad to deliver her presentation entitled Higher Education Excellence, Mohi Experiences and Future Vision. Dr. Wan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning. Thank you very much, Dr. Amir Azlan, Yang Berusaha Dr. Dennis Andrew Lajim, the chairperson for seminar on innovation, learning and teaching, SILT 2022, and also the director for the Center of Academic Excellence and Development, or PPKA UMS. Our keynote speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Adibah Abdul Latif from University Technology Malaysia, participants of SILT, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, first of all, for UMS for having me here today. Definitely, I will never say no for any invitation from UMS. Ada peluang balik Kimanis juga kan. So my topic was that was asked to share today is on the higher education excellence, MOHE experiences and future vision. Now, I'll be sharing with you some of the initiatives that we have we have developed together with the Department of Higher Education, specifically from the Academic Excellence Division, Department of Higher Education, and also with the higher learning institutions. Now, most of the key words that have been covered by Associate Professor Dr. Adibah just now, you can, for example, like traditional classroom, flipped classroom, especially on innovations. So even before I joined the ministry, innovation is always in mind. Innovation is always my belief. You know, when we design learning, and being an educator myself, as Dr. Dennis mentioned just now, he was asking how is it being back to UPM. Our hakiki is actually as an educator, and it has always been an educator. So when designing the DASA or policy in the ministry itself, it's all about being an educator, and it's not just an educator but also an innovative educator with passion and enthusiasm and excitement for learning. And learning by design, empowering learners, learning by doing, those are all the key terms in innovation as an 21st century educator. So if we teach our students, just like we taught yesterday, this is by John Dewey, it has always been, the slides that I always like to use, because it will never be, from now on, for especially the young educators, as I was told just now, we have also teachers from IPGM, for example. My daughter-in-law is also a teacher, which I mentioned to her, you cannot be just a normal teacher. You have to be an unusual teacher so that your students are unusual. So you don't teach like you were taught, because you will rob them of tomorrow. And when we talk about skill set just now, the mega trend for skill sets that was impacted or affected by the pandemic itself, right? But the World Economic Forum, for example, still emphasized on the first skill set, that is analytical thinking and innovation. Analytical thinking and innovation. And if you can see, oh, I just noticed somebody's changed it for me. Yeah? I didn't do anything. Okay. I don't have to hold out my hand and it was changed. Okay, that's great. If you can see, resilience, stress tolerance, and flexibility. That was not in the top 10 skills before. But because of the pandemic, resilience is very important. Now, I'm a microbiologist, right? And before pandemic, not many people know what is pandemic, what is epidemic, what is epidemiology, what is virus, for example, right? But because of the pandemic, suddenly my students, microbiology, everybody needs a microbiologist at that time, especially from the Ministry of Health, KKM. They were looking for all microbiologists to help during the pandemic. Now, and of course, because of the, as mentioned by Dr. Amir just now, pandemic accelerated digital transformation. And that's where not just only the top 10 skill, These are the basic 7 skills that students will always need. Curiosity and imagination. We need our students to be more curious, and our role is to pick their curiosity. We want them to be curious. We want them to come into class and to always ask why. And that is our role as educator, and not just to teach them through your slides. Just now Dr. Adiba said 30 minutes. Mine is 20 minutes, for example, and not finishing your 99 slides, right? And initiative and entrepreneurship. Agility and adaptability, critical thinking, problem solving, assessing and analyzing information, collaboration across networking, and leading influence, effective oral and communication. Now, when Dr. Adiba also mentioned about downloading information and find time to read, because now students, we need to teach them on how to analyze the information, because we do not want them to be overloaded with data and information. So we have to guide them on how to use the information for learning. And I also still believe that these skills, these 10 skills are still very important. The first one is sense making. When Sulam was introduced, it was because of this, sense making. We want our students to be able to make sense of what they're learning in the classroom and apply that to the community. We want them to have that social interaction, social intelligence. We want them to be able to have that design mindset, to work with other disciplines through transdisciplinary project. We want them to be able to collaborate with others through virtual collaboration. Now, because of the pandemic, everybody use Zoom and other virtual conference tool to connect with each other. Now, that is one of the skills. Even our very senior professors, for example, know how to use Zoom now. Okay, so we need to get our students to solve problem, again, critical thinking, problem solving, be able to relate, to make sense, to create, to reflect, to serve, to adapt and also investigate. This is by the future skill domain. And next, please. Okay, sorry. Just now, Dr. Dennis mentioned about VUCA, right? VUCA. We are just going to understand or to internalize more about VUCA world, but during the pandemic, we are introduced with Bani world. Baru nak faham what is VUCA, tiba-tiba ada Bani. So, Bani, brittle, anxious, non-linear, incomprehensible. This was introduced in 2020. Where this is what they describe as the next generation of business. Even education is look at as a business model. And because of the pandemic, there are certain challenges. For example, in enrollment, in the enrollment, especially from the international students, and the closure of facilities. These are all the challenges. And with this Bani model, which is the next generation of business, industries and including the higher education sectors, looking into new business model. So we need to shape our future education, and still based on the 10 shifts of the Malaysia Education Blueprint, Higher Education 2015-2025, right? And looking at shift number 1, to produce graduates that are holistic, balanced and entrepreneurial, supported by the other 9 shifts to produce the learner-driven graduates. And one of the other roadmap that we are still emphasizing is on the English language education reform in Malaysia. So we talk about moving experiences. Now, based on the Malaysia Education Blueprint, we are now in phase 3. Of course, when the Malaysia Education Blueprint was designed, was developed and launched in 2015, there was no pandemic. And the because of the there is an acceleration to digital transformation, but some of the initiatives have some setback in certain certain target, but the initiatives are still being emphasized. For example, in TVET and implementing assessments through alternative assessments, strengthening the collaboration and partnership, for example. For example, looking at the first shift, okay, graduates, holistics, balance and entrepreneurial, we have covered actually the initiatives. One is enhancing curriculum. So we did that by having Excel, developing an integrated assessment. We have alternative assessment, holistic assessment, enhancing coordination of student development, job creator framework, recognizing instructional excellence. We also, through the framework of Shared Prosperity 2030, looking at the OBE, and of course, Sustainable Development Goals, right? Now, this has been shared, Future Ready Curriculum. Now, when we look at Future Ready Curriculum, although the framework for the Future Ready Curriculum was revised in 2020, where the fluid and organic curriculum structure has been, we have revised it to become the fundamental, okay, the fundamental for the Future Ready Curriculum. We are still focusing on the structure, the delivery, transformative delivery, that includes the redesigning learning spaces and the holistic assessment. So be it, you know, at any level, at any government, as a higher education or higher learning institutions, in academic, in curriculum, delivery and assessment, these are the three parameters that we will continue, we will to sustain, and to moving forward is all about innovation. So apply innovative pedagogies for higher education with real world learning and innovation across the curriculum. Now, I think that just now Dr. Amir mentioned about, you know, how being a science background that we don't really understand the word pedagogy. I do believe, you know, I had that experience also. So it's like we work backwards. Backwards means, oh, we have done this. Oh, this is actually, you know, constructivism. Oh, this is actually connectivism, for example. So, oh, this is called pedagogy at that time. Okay, so we just teach, and then, you know, we do a lot of activities, and then we map to the word after we have learned it. So that's why now the universities have this kursus asas pengajaran that you know, you learn all these terms as early as when you come in as an educator. And please do not think that, oh, I just came back from my PhD, then I know how to teach. That's not true. And I have always, you know, remind the new lecturers who just sign in as pensyarah lecturer, if you think that being an educator is an easy job, then you sign the wrong form. Curriculum. When we talk about Excel, Dr. Dennis, not only Dr. Dennis, all the other lecturers. Now, having Excel the guide for you to redesign or revise your curriculum, right? I'm sure that some of the elements in your curriculum right now, you have done it. You have that elements of community. You have the element of the industry, and some of the flexibility and also research. But now we want it to be more immersive. We want to provide that opportunity for the students to have that experiential learning and assess them through their competency is by design. So before this, perhaps, you know, in one program, one degree program, there are only like 2 or 3 lecturers using technology or using project-based approach or inquiry-based learning. But now is everybody need to do it. So that is what we say that, you know, imagine that students need to be given that opportunity. Students will know that they will go through all these experiences by design, right? So if, let's say, students need to achieve the certain skill set through inquiry-based learning, we have, okay, I have my final year project, right? I have my final year project as to infuse or to have that element of research. But through real program, research-infused experiential learning, students are exposed, provide that opportunity to do research since day one. Okay, when they come in, they know that this is a real program. And we have Sulam before this, you know, Sulam is one course and it is actually an approach. But for CARE program, Community Resilient Experiential Learning, students will know that they spend more time in the community, at least a semester or 1 semester, right? And before this, we have 2U to I, we have 3U 1I, but now we are introducing co-op education through industry-driven experiential learning, or IDEAL, where you can spend time more than 1 semester. You can have like alternate semester, 1 semester in the university, 1 semester in the industry, and not just by having the industry, you know, come in as guest lecturer, but you are being introduced with the industry as early as the 1st semester. And of course, by having the personalized experiential learning points, you are given the opportunity to learn based on your passion, based on your interests, right? So UMS or all the universities will have to be prepared to receive students, or not student, or individual who has actually taken courses from some of the other universities, other platforms, and they come into UMS, give me my degree. Okay, that's happening now. May not happening in Malaysia, but it is happening in other countries, especially in US and UK, and the UK. Oh, I forgot to mention about, I forgot to mention about the 10 C's in Excel. It's very important. Look at the 4 number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, cognitive and affective flexibility, cross-cultural and global learning skills, career and learning self-reliance, coping and well-being skills. Right? Those are the 4 skills that we want everyone to emphasize. The others, it has been mentioned at many studies, many research, but the 4 skills, especially on cross-cultural well-being and self-reliance, those are the 4 skills that we need to have to emphasize more because of the after the pandemic. So having Excel as a guide to design your curriculum, and through design your assessment and evaluation through competency-based assessment, based on the existing programs, for example, like this. There are 10 programs with 60% practicals, This was introduced in 2019 for Entun. We call this BTEC program. Okay, so students will do their practical from day one. Okay, and one of the skills for this program is technopreno. Okay, technopreno, and apprenticeship program. Soon, very soon next year, UTHM will be launching their apprenticeship program because it was just approved last 2 weeks with McDonald's. 80% of the student, 80% student will be in the industry for 80%. I mean, day one they are already in the industry. So it is a 3-year program, 2.5 years in the industry. That is apprenticeship program. So this is the apprenticeship degree program, and it will be the first in Malaysia, and we hope to have more of this program soon. Credit transfer MOOC, we have MOOC, massive open online courses have been introduced even 2014. So, but how many universities actually have this mechanism for students to transfer their credits through MOOC? So even though your universities, for example, that do not have that mechanism, or you don't have courses for credit transfer MOOC, but you have to have that mechanism so that students, just now when we want to have more flexibility, students will be able to take other courses from other places, and they will be able to credit transfer. And then we have blended learning. Before this, we introduced blended learning substitution. Instead of having 50, before this, like 30% supplement to your face-to-face, now you can replace it. Okay, so it's up to the program whether you want to have it like 50%, 40% of replacement, meaning that you don't have to have classes. But of course, the pandemic have actually taught us on how to be more creative in designing online learning. Again, it's all about micro-credential, about stackable credentials, about having short courses, about micro-learning, about designing modules, short modules, and not just like the massive open online courses, but focusing on bite-sized learning for your students. Now, it's got to be a little bit hard when you first design your micro-learning because you have to prepare videos and you have to unbundle your topics into smaller learning, smaller modules. But after you have done it, it's going to be much easier for you. And you're going to have more time to do projects and design case studies with your students. And we want also to take this opportunity because you see, I think before this there are a lot of articles and published articles on how industry like Amazon, Google, even Ernst & Young also have introduced credentials, a degree in MBA, fully online, for example. And they were saying, we don't need a degree. Okay, we can run away from degree and focus on the certification. But degree is going to be there. We need that degree. Okay? But degree will not go away. But we need to the pace of the technology change, technologically change that will lead us to for the lifelong learning education and continuing to update the skills. Okay, updating the student skill and able to identify what are the skill sets that our students need. Right, global classroom. This Unity Malaysia Pahang is one of the pioneers in global classroom. And See, now learning is supposed to be seamless, borderless, and how many of our educators are doing this? They have over 100 courses in UMP using this approach. Global Classroom is not like it's like hybrid now. I'm teaching a class, right? So on the screen is the other class in the other universities. Okay, so it is a synchronous, a synchronous class, and you can design activities during that synchronous classes. They even have classes with Cambridge University also. Okay, and when the Department of Higher Education also have revised the guideline in program kerjasama between public universities and the private universities. Now, you can identify programs that you can work with the private universities. That is also one of the way of income generation also. You know, some of the private colleges, for example, they don't have a homegrown program, right? So you yourself can work with the private institutions or other institutions to offer your programs. Okay, so we want to scale up this. We want to get our universities to work with others. Okay, and it is our responsible to ensure that the programs that we are offering is at par with the current advancements of technology and the current needs, not just in the industry, okay, the skill set. We need to identify the skill set that our students need. And that can happen if you yourself as educator, as we ourselves educator, do our own homework, do our own analysis. This is what we call Kajian Impact Mahala 7 program. We have been teaching, for example, like myself, teaching microbiology for many years, right? And we need to identify the skill set that are needed now, okay? And that can happen through this. And the Department of Higher Education, every year there is allocation. We hope we still have the allocation. Okay. The allocation for this Kajian Impact, even if you don't get the allocation from the Department of Higher Education, as the program owner ourselves, we need to do this. Okay, and of course, as mentioned, I think Dr. Dennis, Dr. Amir, and Dr. Adiba also mentioned how we are being innovative, and then we want to be innovative and passionate educator, not for these awards. Okay, it comes together. Okay, it comes together with you're not focusing on to get the award, okay, but because of your innovation, it speaks by itself. And I would like also to emphasize on the Future Workforce Engagement Series. Although we have it in the ministry level, but please have it in your own faculties, in your own program. Now, it's not just engaging, the industry like, oh, we have done this review, we need your feedback. But to engage them from start. When we want to revise our curriculum, we engage with them as early as possible for their input, for them to give input to introduce perhaps new courses, okay? Now, we have all these councils, Dean Council. Each of the discipline, we have all these Dean Council that can represent you. And if you have this program in your university, That means you have a representative. So it is very important that, you know, we have a representative into each of these council to help you to, that will be the platform for you to share your ideas, inputs, challenges, and help you to suggest solution for your problems and issues in your own program. And of course, besides having the Dean's Council, we have the Council for e-learning and Magnetic for your curriculum and delivery, Noble for your OBE, Sulam, of course. We have those top business school for MBA programs, apprenticeship. We have the entrepreneurial integration education, integrated education, MPU, and of course each, we have the group for penyelaras program, LI, okay, latihan industry, and other penyelaras or coordinators. Okay, references, just now Dr. Adibah mentioned on how, you know, we should publish. So although we will not be able to, you know, implement it as soon as, but other people can implement that. And when we talk about higher education excellence, my experiences in all these initiatives. Now, when we look at Sulam, if there is no Sulam, okay, because when Sulam was introduced in 2019, my program, my microbiology program, have introduced service learning in microbiology in 2016, dedicated one course, right? In our faculty, we have 4 programs, biochemistry, microbiology, biotechnology, and biomolecular, cell and molecular biology, where each of the programs have one course called service learning, right? So, service learning is not new. Now it's just being given a name on Service Learning Malaysia, University for Society. And IOER, Inclusive Open Education Resources, we have just finished to have a launch of the IOER courses, including from UMS and UTM, of course, to U2I, makerspaces. I was just, today is Monday, I was just in the Meranti Maker Fest 2022 last Saturday, sharing on the how makerspace can be an innovation hub. Each university, each public university has their own, and I hope that it will be used, it will be utilized for fostering innovations cut across discipline. And of course, these are all the other initiatives. Now, we hope this task force on M-Credible is more micro-credential based learning that will help to help the universities to work on the micro-credential initiative. And of course, all these publications that have been published, and you can download the e-book, okay? Now download and read and internalize and implement, and not just download. Pesanan dari penaja. Okay. Okay, this one is my dream lah, my dream. Yang still while waiting for the government at that time, we have done research on the mata pelajaran pengajian umum MPU, and we have introduced this, the MUST framework. We had this engagement with all the universities with the 3 pillar on knowing yourself, living in society, and living in the world. And of course, before this, we have this U1 until U4, right? But we want to to provide more flexibility to the program owners, to the universities. So we introduced this MAS framework, and hopefully it will be materialized soon. And of course, there are still, our universities of the past still the universities of the past still the future. There are still questions on how our approach in the universities, especially in conventional and traditional teaching, will it be sustained, right? So we need to examine ourselves. This is by Ernest & Young in 2022 on how higher education providers are responsible for all the outcomes of our graduates, how learning journeys, whether or not can be customized, can be designed. Technology could solve the global supply-demand of mismatch. The cost of learning is driven down to zero. It's all up to us, okay? And by World Economic Forum showed that 4 trends that will shape the future of higher education embrace technology. Technology is not the answer for everything, okay? But again, as 21st century educator, we need to embrace technology to enhance meaningful learning, to enhance the pedagogy itself, to enhance our innovation in designing learning, okay? Personalized content, again, personalization is very important. We need to reach more people by having a strong partnership, reach more people to global culture, optimize human interaction. We need to work with others collaboratively, right? So, transformation in higher education, again, 3 ways to make it more accessible, lifelong, and skill-based. One is to democratize education using technology, for example, individualize, personalize. We need to have that platform for any individual to have accessible for knowledge, for education, based on their passion or based on their experiences, mastery-driven. And in order to do that, we need to also take the opportunity to get our learners, our students, what we call as the global citizen literacy, right? We need to maximize that by, again, introduce more digital modular offerings that will be on our micro-credential courses and through the personalized experiential points. Leverage online learning for global growth. The Asian University Network, the ASEAN +3, the ASEM, the Asia Federation, UNESCO, for example, provides platforms. We are working with the Korean Ministry of Education on what we call as Asia Cyber University. Those are all actually to provide online learning that can be accessed by all individuals cut across any discipline, cut across country. Ensure partnerships provide mutual benefits and drive innovation. Work closely with other people. Commonwealth of Learning. UMS before this have worked with Commonwealth of Learning. So that will be another platform that is supported by the Ministry of Higher Education. Explore partnership opportunities to improve accessibility. There are many, as mentioned by Dr. Adibah, there are many industries, education industries, technology industry, educational technology industry, who can provide this support. Prepare learners for the labor market of the future, and that can happen only if we engage them and we engage our learners for the real life learning, Personalized learning, many times we have mentioned about personalized learning, community outreach and dynamic partnership. Okay. So based on the Educause Horizon Report 2021, again, this is on teaching and learning edition, micro-credential, learning analytics, OER, and in 2022, they also have this Educause Horizon report, but they were focusing on hybrid learning. So when we talk about, if you can see, what are the actions, institutional and departmental actions from harder and easier, we should be able to identify which one that we can immediately can take action, right? According to this, include use research-based methodologies and frameworks. We have, in Malaysia, we are very well known on having all these frameworks and policies and kerangka and, but our biggest challenge is to understand it, internalize it, and implement it. And Innovating Pedagogy 2022. Innovating Pedagogy report, they produce this every year. And in 2022, I would like to highlight this. Influencer-led education. Can you see this? Influencer-led education. So who's the influencer in UMS? Dr. Kama. So you have been identified as influencer. So must introduce influencer-led education, and we want to have more influencer actually, right? And there is also the pedagogy of discomfort. Tak kira tua ni, we have to, Dr. Dennis, we have to walk and talk. Walk the talk, right? Okay. So please download this. This is it can be found when you Google it, right? And just now, Dr. Adibah used Mentimeter to ask about the, the one word about innovation. I've used Mentimeter to ask a group of students from different universities, about 60 of them, and I asked them, how do you learn best in the classroom? And they answered, the biggest one is love. Not loving the lecturer, but they may love the lecturers also, of course. But they want to love the classroom, they want to love the environment. Einstein said, I don't teach my students, I just create an environment in which they can learn. That is our role, that is our responsible, okay? So we need to create love. Dr. Kamaruddin? Love. Love him. Okay. Okay. Must share that love. Must spread the love then. And of course, going back to all the 10 just now, science making, social. So I want to share, I think I've shared this many times, what I've done, right, with all these project-based experiential learning. And so we do not want it to be, the approach of giving students experience, learning by doing, empowering learners. So that's what I did and what I'm doing now. Pecha Kucha, I have not seen any other Pecha Kucha, so please do that. Dipaksa do pada kan. Augmented reality, now the app also, dah tak ada app. Now we, of course there are new apps, right? But last time we used Orasma. This was in 2014, right? And what? Tak ada masa tu belum ada TikTok pun, right? Okay, we have introduced science as art, working together with industrial design students. We create games, a lot of games. We publish papers through games. We get our students to, join the competition, and we won. We get copyrights. Students got copyrights. And of course, one of the biggest project that I've shared many times is on the virtual microbes, where students use Zoom at that time. So we had 2016, 2017, students used Zoom with 8 universities, including La Trobe University and Lafayette College universities, 769 students working on microbiology assignments. And can you imagine in 2016, 2017, we were using Zoom. And when 2020 pandemic hit, everybody was saying, now everybody use Zoom. We used that 3-4 years ago, for example, right? And work transdisciplinary service learning in microbiology, work with students from UIAs, TESOL and USM was pre-service teacher teaching special education. Students teach microbiology in to the 4th grade elementary school, 2 schools in New Mexico, virtually. So those are the skills: virtual collaboration, cross-cultural competency, transdisciplinary. Now, this was mapped after, after the project, the skills, right? So we introduced 3D printers in 2015, for example. Itu, I think 1 jam lebih, the aspergillus, right? This is one part of with the Lafayette College in the universities. What else? Just use Padlet here at that time. Padlet and Zoom. Okay, so what's next? I give you an example in microbiology, my field, right? Now, for example, using AI. So microbiology itself, we have been, we have a lot of this data through high throughput smart technologies, bioinformatics using big data. We can use machine learning, and of course the power of AI. This is using AI to help to design new drugs, and new drugs come from microbes. People, you know, right? From microbes. And you know that Botox? Botox? Dr. Amir, okay. Botox is actually a toxin from a bacteria, botulinum, that causes you food poisoning. But with the amount, with the correct amount, right? You can use it for Botox. Lunchtime, pagi pergi lecture, lunchtime petang balik sudah lain. Because pergi Botox, for example. Of course, machine learning, again, I mentioned. So how machine learning, and they apply it in microbiology or any biological sciences. Okay, I would like to share, I will just take another 5 minutes. Service learning in microbiology. So people, now, we have to be able to, this is the one that I'm teaching now this semester when I just came back to UPM. I'm leading this on service learning in microbiology. Now, these students, they are 5th semester students, okay? And they're going to do their final year project on the 6th semester, next semester. So I was thinking when they do this service learning, they have to have some kind of research element. So service learning is about helping the students, getting the students to help the community to solve issues. So the community that we introduced for this semester is the poultry industry, the whole supply chain from farm, feed mill, labs, sampai the consumer, slaughterhouse and all. So this service learning is research-infused, project-based service learning. Okay, students have to interview the community. The community will be all the industries, interview the farmers, interview the feed millers on what are the issues related to microbes, and they have to find solution. Okay, they have to suggest a solution, and they have to pitch for the solution in a competition or challenge, which I call as microbes innovation, invention, and ideation challenge. Okay, so you just have to imagine what are the experiences that the student will go through when they do this. although this is one credit, but we combine it with 3 other courses: genetics, pathology, and immunology. So students who are taking these 4 courses, they are doing this big project. So that is working collaboratively. And I would like also to highlight how important is that we want our students, just now we mentioned about how we want to produce our students to support how they can contribute to sustainable development. So in microbiome world, we want them to know that how they are microbiologists that can support, that can contribute for the sustainable development. Not just about, not just about climate change, food security, but other functions of a microbiologist. So in microbial technologies, you have all these, output that we want them to be able to relate and connect to the sustainable development goal. So, education for sustainable development. That is what I'm working right now with, and we have this special interest group that we want to support to accelerate change for sustainable development, because we want to prepare our students to promote, to prepare them to meet the challenges in the 21st century. We want them to be able to understand better how the importance of sustainability, and it's not just about 2030, this is about 2030 and beyond. Okay, we want them to have that critical thinking and creativity, and it's just about the thing that we need to do together with our students, education for sustainable development. And one of the project that I'm going to do in 2023 is with all the microbes, all the microbes, okay? Microbes Innovation Invention Ideation Challenge, meaning again, but focusing on SDG. So I would like to, invite all, not just from microbe people, but from engineering, because remember, we want to work collaboratively, transdisciplinary, and how you can contribute to this challenge, so that our students will be able to analyze, to foster innovation with our students and collaboration. SDG also is not just about environmentalism, it's about collaboration, it's about harmonization, okay? So, next please. Tak nak berhenti dia. Okay, go back, okay. So, what is innovation as educator? Inspire. Individualized, non-traditional, self-directed, passion-driven, innovative, reflective, experiential learning, right? And again, I think also it's very important that we need to connect with our students. Now, I believe learners should make meaning of their own experiences. That's where the theory of constructivism emphasized to the individuals, where personalized environment can occur. But another theory that supports the personalized environment is connectivism. And relationships before pedagogy is a tenet of effective teaching. And I do believe that because of the connectivism as sees knowledge structure as a network, so I built my own network with my students so that we go beyond traditional models of learning. And when teachers bond with students, it creates a magical atmosphere where learning thrives. And again, tak kira tua ataupun muda lah ya. It's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change, to unlearn, relearn, to learn and unlearn and relearn. Okay? So this is a time when energy, creativity, experimentalization will thrive. And leaders who create environments where disruptive thinking is encouraged will find new, more effective ways to deliver on the core mission of their institutions. And I do also believe that the only way to do great work is to love our job, as mentioned by Dr. Adibah just now. And in that case, we owe it to our stakeholders, our learners, to lead our organization into an era of unprecedented agility and innovation. I'm sharing this, you should watch all these movies, very inspiring movies. I even brought my students to watch this Temple Grandin, for example. Temple Grandin these are all true movies, true stories. Temple Grandin is a professor in Colorado. She is autistic. And when I brought them to the library, we booked the auditorium and watched this Temple Grandin. After watching the Temple Grandin, I asked them, each and every one of them, to write a letter to Temple Grandin. Okay? And what else? Next, please. Finishing? I think finishing? Habis? Okay, of course, the book, the e-book that you can download. I think I've shared this many times. All the books just now, okay? And I have summed up the, when I was in BKA. Those are the bold and great are all the initiatives. And we hope that, through our action, we can reduce skill gaps, we can reduce skill mismatch, we promote societal change, provide flexibility, through nation prosperity, and reimagining education. And I do believe it can be done. So with that, thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wan Zuhainis, for the very interesting insights on academic excellence through the lens of MOHI. Right. I'm quite interested with the first line that you mentioned earlier, whereby we want to leave our students curious about what they will learn in class, instead of us just teaching, finishing our slides for 2-3 hours. That is what we were hoping for. I still remember some of the experience whereby students, they get curious when we don't teach. And dia tanya, "Sir, kenapa ada lecture hari ni? Why do we do a lot of exercises and activities but no lecture?" So they feel quite awkward having no lectures, probably because they're used to it, right? And they even get curious when we don't share the slides and notes, the PowerPoint slides. So some kind of reflection, something that we can reflect. Okay, we want them to be curious, but in a good way, like curious in the way what and how they will be teach and how they are going to enjoy the class. Because we want the engagement, we don't want them, to be curious or why are we not teaching and stuff. So. Anyway, any questions from we have Dr. Dennis.
I'm interested with the MINIC. Is that a sign that Dr. Wan will compete in ACRI?
Pemenang AAN tak compete in ACRI.
Oh, okay.
Anugerah Akademik Negara for kategori pengajaran is a lifetime anugerah. It's not like other category that you can, like, every year you can participate. But for pengajaran it is only once. And ACRI is actually a platform to prepare the AAN recipient, actually AAN candidates. Now, sepatutnya tanya MINIC tu, how can we get our people from UMS to join? Right, but I just want to comment about your, Dr. Amir just now mentioned about the lectures, where the students are, when they get curious not having lecture, because I think first semester, whosoever teaching first semester student, first semester, first year, that is the most crucial part, the most critical lecture is during the first semester, first year student. That is where you want to pique their curiosity just now. And I think one of the challenges is to sustain. Because you see, when we use technology in our class, for example, doing mind map or collaborative mind map, and then you go to the other class, the lecturer kata, okay, keluarkan kertas, buat mind map contoh, for example, right? And because in your class they use Padlet, so the other class they don't use Padlet to collaborate. But then, you know, the way how we design our activities with the students will actually shape them. I had that experience where I just purposely, I don't give them notes, you know, purposely, and I want to see how they, what do they, you know, what did they do? So it was a lecture on Thursday, and we supposed to, like, in UPM we have to upload the notes at least 24 hours before the lecture, right, to the LMS. But I didn't upload any notes, and but surprisingly, you know, before the lectures, okay, before Thursday, on Wednesday night, the students were sharing notes. They upload themselves in the LMS. I didn't ask them to upload, but the question is why? Why did they do that? Why are they sharing? It's because an earlier part of the semesters they were trained to share, right? And they were trained to be curious. They were trained. We have actually instilled the interest. We need to instill interest. The first thing is to instill interest. Once they are interested, then your life will be easier. They will give you beyond your expectation. So our challenge is to instill that interest. Itu yang bangun pukul 4 pagi tu contohnya lah. Kan? To explore. When I did the Awesome Microbe Carnival, for example, you know, from looking at the microscope until you print out with 3D printers, for example, introduce the 3D printer and get the first semester student to design the model using 3D printers, that is not something, that is through my homework, that, you know, my readings, for example. So the hard work come from us, then everything will be easier. When you share with your students and you co-develop, co-create with your students, then, you know, it comes naturally for them to work with you.
Perhaps Dr. Wan, maybe you can share with us, you know, during your time as a director of BKA, what were the challenges, you know, when you and your team tried to develop this academic excellence framework? Because we see a lot of initiatives that has been implemented just now, all the Excel and everything.
Yeah.
So what were the challenges actually when you and your team faced to develop these initiatives?
I think one of the challenges is, in any other policymakers, is about implementation. Even when we introduced Sulam in 2019, by the time 2021, there are still lecturers who do not know what is Sulam, right? So that's why we had this synergy with BKA, where we go to the ground and ask for reporting, kan? Apa tu? Where are you? Kan? Where are we in all the initiatives? I think it's not just about the initiatives. It's, you know, those are the right thing to do, because when we want to say that we want to provide experiences with the students, with the community, so what are the initiatives? What are the projects? Before this, maybe 1 or 2 person yang buat, but now we want everybody to do. So that's why it came, you know, with all this initiative. Micro-credentials, MOOCs, for example, online learning, Those are the things yang even before earlier also have been emphasized. Using learning management system to, before this maybe perhaps just uploading and downloading notes, but now using learning management system to engage the students in the virtual learning environment. So I think just now Dr. Adiba also mentioned about passion. So it has to come from us. We need to be excited about exploring new ideas in teaching. That's what being innovative lecturer is all about. You can say, oh, I'm very passionate about teaching, but I'm teaching using slides, for example, kan? Because macam tadi you talk for 3 hours, passion, kan? But then empowering, we need to empower the learners. Kita ni 21st century educators, we don't actually, teach, but we are teaching them on how to learn. Teaching our students on how to learn and not what to learn.
Thank you, Dr. Wan. Any questions from the audience? Yes.
Hi. Good afternoon, Doctor. Thank you very much for the very interesting presentation. So I'm a young lecturer. So actually have a two questions.
Young or new?
Young and
Young
new.
and new, okay.
Young and new.
Okay.
I just have a question regarding to the PTG, right? That
Mhm.
about having some amount of time for this blended learning or online learning. I was just wondering, actually for all this initiative, is there any research or evidence like whether students, do they like it or do they learn it better with that approach? Because now after beginning with the new semester, when we come back to the physical class, I have personal contact with my students, and their feedback to us is they actually prefer to come to lecture and having much more interaction with the lecturer physically. So I'm just wondering, if it's good to have some evidence or some study done by the ministry to tell us that, the student does achieve better with this kind of learning. So I'm just wondering if there's any. Thank you.
Thank you. I do not want to say that, I do not want to come from the ministry. I want it to come from you as educators. Because we have our culture as Malaysian is always top down. Kena buat ni sebab kena buat. Kan? But not just because you have to. But because we want it for you to do because you want to. Now, we have all these options. We have PTG, we have all those initiatives. But we want you to choose which one is better, which one is the more appropriate for your learners. Now, and of course, the studies have been done by the MEPTA, Malaysian E-Learning Council. So it has been published. Now, but macam Dr. Adiba mentioned just now, when kita ni tak nak shock sendiri, okay, we terguling-guling dalam class with our students, and then there's no evidence to show that they are actually learning or effective or meaningful learning. But of course, all these can be done as part of your evidence, parts of your evidence of your innovation. Because with all the projects that I've done, and whether it is impactful or meaningful, that can be shown through it can be like a small, what we call as action research, before and after. Easily can be carried out in your class. But I also want to highlight that, of course, there are reasons why the students they prefer face-to-face or physical classes. Now, during the pandemic, it was a rapid transition to online learning, and people, it's like most of the educators and students, they were not ready for that online learning environment or virtual learning environment. And it's not just about transferring your face-to-face classes, physical classes to online. You need that skill also to engage the student, how to engage the student, how to get our students to be interactive, how to make sure that our students actually are, listening to you very, intensely during in the virtual learning environment when they are not showing videos, for example. How do we get our students to collaborate with other in breakout rooms? Those are you need that skills. So if we have, if we manage to engage them in the virtual learning environment, we can actually provide that flexibility. So maybe some of the class, because you have done this for 2 years, so perhaps you have your own videos that you have created that you can use it for your own flipped classroom. You have the videos already, so you can upload in your LMS, and then you can use Edpuzzle to add in quizzes for your own videos, and during class you can do activities. So physical classes, yes, it's good to have physical classes, but not for lectures. It's for you to discuss, to interact, to evaluate their critical thinking, and give them case studies for problem solving, for example. Mau komen apa, Dr. Galeri?
Saya nak respon berkenaan dengan soalan tadi. Sedikit tambahan daripada Dr. Wan. Basically, when we are talking about blended learning, we are talking about technology. So, as a educator, teknologi jangan fikir dululah. So, first thing yang kita perlu adalah make sure that you are become a SME, subject matter expert first. Make sure when you're teaching the certain courses, you are really the expert of that courses. Then baru kita pergi kepada pedagogi, apa yang Dr. Adiba mention pagi tadi. Learn about different type of pedagogies. And then once we already master the pedagogies, then we look how that technology will enhance our deliveries. Then barulah kita akan appreciate sama ada blended learning itu bermakna ataupun tidak kepada pelajar kita. Okay, I give examples. What happened during the MCO? Terpaksa, because kita terpaksa buat online. Okay, terpaksa. But once we come back to the real situation ataupun the keadaan yang semasa, which is physical face to face, then why that student, meaning that they learn a lot during the face to face because our interaction is there. Tapi tidak berlaku pada bila berada dalam blended. That for me, that's why look at the pedagogy first. And how that we interact, as what Dr. Wan mentioned tadi. Interaction to first. How that we communicate. Macam mana ada slide tadi last tu, apa tu? Not love. Ada tadi yang hampir last apa, Prof. Wan? Dr. Wan?
Love what you do.
No, about the engagement with the students. Okay, ya, betul. Engage with your student first.
Relationship before pedagogy.
Get know your student first. Then baru akan ada relationship tu. Bila relationship tu macam tak kenal makan tak cinta lah kan. Okay, kenal student, bila student kenal kita, then become close, and that's why delivery tu akan menjadi mudah. So for me, start step by step. Kalau orang cakap blended is the best, no. For me, it's not for you. Mungkin untuk orang lain. But for you first, for the young and new lecturer, try be your SME first. Be SME first. Tiada orang lain yang boleh expert dalam you punya subjek kecuali diri sendiri. Once you already expert, then try to explore another pedagogy, either using technology or not. That is depend on you. Okay, that is my suggestion. Okay, terima kasih. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih. But I think I also want to highlight, to add, is collaboration. You become the SME, but there are if you work with others, then lagi you become more experts, and you can actually support your learners. That's why just now when I mentioned about the service learning in microbiology, and we combine the genetics, pathology and immunology courses, empat kursus, 4 courses, with other lecturers teaching those courses, because they are the experts in immunology. And the projects, the immunology part will be assessed by them, but we design it together. So when we have this collaboration, students will be able to relate also, because they're when they take this course and then they go for another course, they might finish up this course, habis exam, and then that's it. But when you have a collaborative project with different courses, then they will be able to relate in their programs too. They will be able to relate.
Thank you very much. I think it's a great question from you just now, and we get a very good answers also from the experts. So first of all, just to remind that the tips, be the subject matter expert. So we are the expert of our field, and then we get to learn all the pedagogies, whether should we consider technologies or not, is it suitable to our courses or not, and then like Dr. Kama mentioned just now, get along with the students, right? Tak kenal maka tak cinta, kan? And then, okay, so that will help lah, okay, to make your class interesting and have more engagement with the students. Actually, we have few other questions, but disebabkan masa sangat mencemburui kita, Dr. Wan, we can continue the Q&A session afterwards during the lunchtime. You can always contact Dr. Wan at zuhainis@upm.edu.my, or while she is still here this afternoon, maybe you can directly ask her any questions that you wish to ask, including to Dr. Adiba as well. Right. So on behalf of PPKA, we'd like to thank Dr. Wan. I think another round of applause to Dr. Wan for her presentation today. Thank you very much, Dr. Wan. Right, and I hand over the session back to MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Amir, for conducting the second keynote session just now. And again, thanks to Associate Professor Dr. Wan Zuhainis for the fruitful and insightful sharings. Let's give a big round of applause to our second keynote speakers. With that, we have come to the end of this event. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for lunch break. The lunch will be served at the back, and it is advisable for all participants to come back at 1:45 p.m. for the parallel sessions at dedicated places. So for parallel 1, the session will be conducted here in this gallery, and another 2 parallel sessions will be at the Center for Academic Excellence and Development Office at the 6th floor. Yeah, and you may scan the QR code display to read the book of abstracts if you haven't do so, or of those who haven't registered yet, and you may do so. And you may join any of the parallel sessions you want to, okay? And if you have any questions or inquiry which is not clear, you can always refer to the organizing committee. And we're here always there for you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, to end this morning, please rise for the university song, Bertekad Cemerlang. with that, I'm Nira Marasan, and my duty as NMC for today's Wabillahi Taufiq wal Hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Please enjoy your lunch.